Thank you all for coming, and I thank Jerald and everyone surrounding him who's been very gracious and very hospitable. Basically, I was a painter actually, and a lot of people think my work does relate to paintings. I was a painter for a long time, up until 1995, and I made sculpture, prints, a couple of etchings, a failed lithograph. They're very hard to do. A lot of drawing and sculpture. So I tried a lot of things, and in '95 I kind of reached a point where I was really bored with painting. I just didn't feel like I could contribute, and I'd made a lot of paintings. So I wanted to try something else. So I really was influenced by Cindy Sherman as a really great photographer on a personal level. And for me, personal was about the landscape. I'd always painted figures in the landscape. So for me, personal was the landscape. So I wanted to do something different with photography, and I started making tabletop landscapes and photographing them, but I couldn't get an atmosphere. It was kind of boring, really, and the best I could do was cover the landscapes with plastic and put in smoke bombs and lit cigarettes. Even though I wasn't smoking, I quit some years before. Well, that took 6 years of borrowing other people's, but I did quit. So anyway, that was somewhat satisfying, but then it kind of dawned on me, paint in water makes clouds, with varying success. So a friend of mine was throwing out a 100-gallon tank, and he gave it to me, and I started from there. It felt like a really great discovery for me personally. I reached a point where I thought, well, let's just simplify the whole thing and drop paint in water and see what happens. So I tend to think about things for way too long. I thought about that idea for 2 years. I just couldn't quite do it. So when I finally did it, the first time I'm like, this works. This really works. And that's how I came to this point with the work in the other room. So Jerald has a great eye. He chose these images. I'm kind of a workaholic. I make a lot of work, and then I have to weed it out and find the ones that really make sense. So there's different qualities in each of these pieces which struck me, either because of color or combinations of color and composition. But what I found was the nice thing about this body of work is it's all totally random. I mean, I pour the paint in, and I can choose the colors. Everything goes its own way. It falls about so far, and then I have no idea what it's going to do. So I get different color combinations and different forms come out. Some are very surprising.